and here on Facebook Live on facebook.com/live-now-DT, and of course continuing on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt and on wakeupcalldt.com. I got my guy, Mr. Sofka, with me here, and we have a full slate of games here on Thanksgiving. Nobody has this week off. There are 3 games, a trio of games. As you know, we were talking about the Lions will always play up to this point on Thanksgiving. The Cowboys will always play on Thanksgiving, and we have our rotator game that came in a few years back. Of course, we have Sunday night, and Monday night. So with that being said, Mr. Sofka of Hall of Fame FantasyFootball.com and our winning fantasy football group is here with us to bring us his astute knowledge. Mr. Sofka, how are we doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you, Dan?
I'm doing really well, brother, and I am so excited. I don't know what it is about Turkey Day week, but I mean, I don't know if you feel this way, but I'm amped for the NFL every single week, and then for whatever reason, when it's Thanksgiving week, I'm not only like amped for the NFL, I'm like double time ignited, really excited. There's something about thinking about turkey and, you know, turkey and stuffing and sweet potatoes and football all day that just gets me really, really amped and excited and ready to go. So I don't know if you feel the same way that I do, but I can honestly tell you that for as much as I love football all the time, when it comes to fantasy football and real football on Thanksgiving week, and especially on Thanksgiving Day, it does something to me like on top of it. It's like getting a jolt of something that you're already ignited by. Do you get that sense too, or am I just crazy?
No, absolutely. I'm all geeked up, ready to go right now. I mean, I can't wait for the day either. This is the day. For some reason, you know, you visit. You know, a lot of us are. I know a lot of people don't have a lot of family, but a lot of people do have a lot of family. This is a great opportunity to get together with family and friends. And for some reason, you know, you go to Grandma's house and dinner's always at 2:30 or 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock on Thanksgiving. But I'm okay with that because there's a 12:30 game. I can smell the turkey cooking. Then we eat at 2:30, whatever. And then there's a 4:30 game. I'm taking a nap at halftime. Then I wake up and I'm making a turkey sandwich for the evening game. It's awesome. I love it. I can't get enough of it. But I do want to bring it back down to earth for 1 second. And, you know, it's a time to be thankful. It's a time to be thankful for what we have, where we are, what we do, what our beliefs are, and our friends and family, of course. And, you know, I try to relate that to a fantasy football perspective in a way. And I'm going to post something here on the winning fantasy football group on Facebook here where you tell us the player you're thankful for. The player you're thankful for on your fantasy team. I'll give you for instance. Mine on one of my big teams is James Robinson. Guy comes out of nowhere. Not a lot of people know about him. And boom, he's like an extra first-round pick on your team this year that nobody else saw coming. So, you know, putting it in a fantasy football perspective, I'm thankful for James Robinson. How about you, Dan?
Yeah, you know, it's so funny you said that because as soon as you said, I'm going to tell you who I'm thankful for, my head said James Robinson. Because, you know, that's the guy, I mean, undrafted Illinois State. I mentioned him in the first hour with Julian, you know, saying that if nothing goes right for Jacksonville, James Robinson goes right. And Sean Tucker has felt like the James Robinson of Syracuse. So I would say James Robinson. I would also say Tom Brady for me outside of 1 week has done me a lot of justice. I want to show some love for a guy that I hope is on the mend and gets healthy and well very soon, that heals completely and for good. And no matter what, through God and handles everything that comes his way, and that's Dak Prescott. Dak was a phenomenal piece to my season. So just because he got injured doesn't mean I'm going to forget about him. I'm thankful for Dak, Devontae Adams, Tom Brady, James Robinson. I'm thankful for every single one of those cats. I'm also thankful for the Chicago defense and special teams that helped me come back in not 1 but 2 leagues weeks ago when they played the Rams, helped me come back, and I think I won by like a point or like 3 points, something ridiculous like that. So shout out to all of them. I'm thankful for you on Thanksgiving and in this fantasy football season. And so with that being said, Mike, we're speaking on Thanksgiving and being thankful, so let's hop right into it. We are to the first game here, and that first game in our matchup is going to be the Houston Texans and the Detroit Lions. Detroit is always first on Thanksgiving. They're playing right around 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm usually still cooking, and I will be. Well, maybe I'll be done with my cooking, but we are not having dinner till 3. I pushed it as late as I possibly could, My mom, I feel like, wants it at noon or 1. This year she goes, what do you want to do, 2? And then she called me back again. She goes, so 3 o'clock for dinner? And I was like, it's kind of like deal or no deal. You take that deal when you get it. I'm like, 3 o'clock means I don't have to wake up at 5 to do the turkey. So I'm like, bam, 3 o'clock. I hit that button. So,
Perfect.
yeah, so mom was like 3 o'clock, and I was like, yeah, I wish I thought you'd never ask. So our first game here, we're going to see the Texans face off against the Lions. What do you have for this?
Yeah, well, the Lions coming off a beating by the Panthers and a backup quarterback in P.J. Walker. But the thing was the Lions were one of the few teams, and not many people saw this, and it's a remote stat, they were one of the few teams that were averaging more than 20 points a game offensively. They got shut out. And they let a backup quarterback, a guy who's no more better than the 33rd best quarterback in the league, you had him beat you and put up 20 points on you. So that's just horrendous. Meanwhile, the Texans came across with a victory on a game that I thought they were going to lose. I thought the Patriots were going to go in there and run the ball because Houston can't stop the run. And Houston poured it on 27-20. So this is a battle of two teams going in two different directions here. But when you put it game to game, week to week, because it is, it's like, Bill Belichick says, on to Cincinnati. You can't focus on the past. You got to focus on right now in front of you. And right now I'm looking at the rankings, and Houston looks pretty good. And they're led, of course, by Deshaun Watson, number 4 on my rankings. Duke Johnson, number 13. Will Fuller, 16. Brandon Cooks, number 11. And Jordan Akins, he's probably good for a touchdown, maybe 35, 50 yards. He seems to be the one that's going to out-snap Darren Fells or Farrell Brown. So those are quality guys that you can play from Houston. On the other side of the ball for Detroit, Matt Stafford's 14 on the rankings. DeAndre Swift should be back from the concussion. Lord knows, Adrian Peterson didn't do anything last week when he was out and had carte blanche. He couldn't get it going. DeAndre Swift, number 19. Adrian Peterson, number 49. The receivers is a mixed bag of tricks. I'm not sure if Kenny Galladay's all the way back yet. Marvin Jones has been hit or miss. Those guys are ranked in the 40s. But the guy that you can count on for a touchdown, maybe 50 yards from the tight end position, is T.J. Hawkinson. And, with that being said, you see there's a lot more value fantasy-wise on the Houston side. They're hot right now. I know they got a losing schedule. When I say hot, I mean comparatively speaking. I'll go with Houston on the road in this game.
Yeah, Detroit they're just reeling, and it's the great unfortunate. They are struggling right now, and there were some good signs. There were some moments. DeAndre Swift for fantasy is obviously a positive for fans. He was that guy that I drafted and thought to myself, okay, I picked him a little bit higher. I didn't think he was going to last. I'm happy I got him. But then he was underwhelming, right? And he was sitting on my bench. And then I was thinking to myself, I can't let him go, but what am I supposed to do with him? And how many weeks do I let this last? But I held on. I held on, and I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to give him a shot. I'm going to give him a chance. And I'm happy with what he's been able to do. But outside of that, Detroit has looked kind of haphazard, on the side of Houston. Because they're playing the Lions, you got to play Deshaun Watson in this game. I think you got to put him out there. You got to put out Will Fuller. I think Brandon Cooks is going to have a day, so I'd put him as a flex. Jordan Akins, if you got to put him out there, I would say he's a tight end too. On the other side of it for Detroit, if DeAndre Swift can play, then you got to think about putting him out there. He was a limited participant in practice, which is a good thing, but coming off a concussion, he has a shorter week. Kerryon Johnson's a forgotten man. Remember they drafted him right before they drafted DeAndre Swift. They drafted Kerryon Johnson out of Auburn, and he's a forgotten guy out there. If DeAndre can play, it's him and Marvin Jones Jr. Everybody's hurt, or I shouldn't say everybody's, but Matt Stafford is hurt. DeAndre Swift is hurt. Kenny Galladay is hurt. T.J. Hawkinson is hurt. So if Hawkinson can go with Hawkinson. If not, it's DeAndre Swift if he can play, and Marvin Jones Jr. I'm going to go with Houston as well. I just don't see Houston losing this game. I think Houston can put 20-0 on them. I think Houston can maybe go at 20-7. I think they're going to hold them, but I think they'll get at least a 20 on Houston's side. Washington football team, you know my twitch when I have to say that, Mike, but Washington football is my eye twitches against the Dallas Cowboys in Arlington, Texas. What do you have for this?
Oh, this is a great game. This would be a great game. I told you I'm eyeing this game not only for the entertainment value, but this is the nap time. This is either the first quarter, the halftime, you're taking a nap, the tryptophan is kicking in, and you're just relaxed. But I think it's going to be a hard time to relax during this game because while you look at their records and you look at what they've done so far this year, Washington and Dallas, they're both coming off impressive wins. They came out of nowhere, and this is actually a game I'm actually looking forward to watching all of a sudden. It's almost like, okay, you know why some people watch NASCAR? Because they like to watch the wrecks. That's just what it is. This is a train wreck here. Two different train wrecks, two different trains meeting. I want to see the outcome. It's sick and sad, but as a human society, we want to see the gore. We want to see the bodies hanging out the window and stuff. We want to see the devastation. Not so fast, because Mike McCarty brought out the sledgehammer and watermelons for the team just before the game and was doing a Gallagher talking about this, smashing a watermelon with a sledgehammer, got everybody fired up. And they won a game. So that Ron Rivera comes out today and puts out a nice soundbite. Coach of the Washington football team says, I don't know. Am I supposed to get a hammer and smash some pumpkins now? What do I got to do? So he's using that to their advantage now. But, you know, to get to the raw numbers of the thing, I think you're going to find more value, of course, in Dallas. I think Dallas has the higher-ranked players across the board, but you're going to get some value from Washington as well. Washington, of course, led by the comeback story of the year, Alex Smith, number 24 on the rankings this week. Antonio Gibson's been a great rookie for you all year, number 14. And J.D. McKissick is the pass guy. PPR league, you know you're starting this guy. And if you're starting him in your flex, you're doing real well, of course. Terry McLaurin, one of the top wide receivers all year. This week I have him down a little bit to number 12. Logan Thomas, number 18 on the tight end rankings. And for Dallas, Andy Dalton should be back to his normal self here, number 16 on the quarterback rankings. Ezekiel Elliott, number 6. It's sad commentary when you have such a high opinion of somebody. You're disappointed when they're only ranked number 6 in the top 10 and not 1 or 2. But let's face it, Zeke hasn't been running well. Dallas hasn't been moving the ball well, but they got a spark now. And I think this is where you're going to see that spark turn into a flame. Zeke Elliott, again, number 6. Amari Cooper, number 21 on the ranking. CeeDee Lamb, number 36. And Dalton Schultz, number 14. What does all that mean when it comes down to the nuts and bolts of the game? Both these teams are coming off wins coming in here. Both these teams have emotional and mental they're on a high right now. And the best time to win a game is right after you won a game because you're feeling it. You're feeling that winning. You can feel that winning, of course, at our Facebook group, Winning Fantasy Football. Sorry, Dan, I had to do it. I'm going to go with
good.
Dallas.
Listen,
I'm going to go with...
your transition was fantastic. I love it.
I'm going to go with the Cowboys here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Cowboys in this game, too. I'm feeling it for the Cowboys. Andy Dalton, he looked pretty. You know, he definitely looked good in that game and did some fantastic things. Shout out to him. Zeke looking more like Zeke. That was nice to see. When you open up the pass, you open up the run. That's just common sense and vice versa. I like Alex Smith in this game. I do. And it's because it's Thanksgiving. It's because anything can happen. I'm hearing the boomer in my head going, whoop! You know, I'm seeing that happen. I'm seeing that fumble, that bounce. Somebody's going to pick it up, fumble it again. It's going to go up in the air. The guy's going to try and fall down with it. It's going to fumble again. So I think we're going to see one of those crazy plays this Thursday for Thanksgiving against Washington and Dallas. I like Alex Smith in this game. If Terry McLaurin can play, I'd put him out there as well. I really don't feel good about anybody else. On Dallas' side, though, I like Andy Dalton in the game. I like Zeke Elliott in the game. I like CeeDee Lamb because he's been stepping up in a big way. Amari is a flex. Michael Gallup is a flex below Amari. And Dalton Schultz, not a bad play for you. I think he's a low-end one for me. And like I said, I'm going with the Cowboys. The third Thanksgiving game is Baltimore at Pittsburgh, the rotator. Baltimore doesn't look like the Baltimore we hoped for. Pittsburgh's undefeated. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is kind of disappointing that these teams, I should say this team in Baltimore, is not doing as well as we thought. And, you know, I found it interesting. I saw TJ Watt on one of the Talking Head shows this morning talking about that game. And he made it, and they just played a couple weeks ago. Of course, Steelers went in there. Steelers still undefeated. You know, they came into that game, and they seemed to just walk right over Baltimore. Nobody could get it going. They couldn't run the ball. It's just amazing to me that Lamar Jackson has been figured out by the Steelers. And T.J. Watt's soundbite, I'm paraphrasing. Yeah, we watch a lot of film, and we know a lot. I should say we know a heck of a lot. Something to that effect. And that led me to believe that they know the plays, they know the audibles, they know the personnel well enough on the other side of the ball where the mental game has kicked in for the Steelers. You back that up with the steamrolling schedule that they've done, 10-0. Nobody can touch them. Ben Roethlisberger's having a great year. Chase Claypool's having a great year. He was a great find. And by the way, he was on top of the Adjusted Explosive Index, which I give out for free every year on the website HallOfFameFantasyFootball.com. But let me go to the game. Let me go to the nuts and bolts here. Pittsburgh, across the board, has the better players across the board fantasy-wise. Ben Roethlisberger, number 18 this week. Baltimore's defense is no joke still. James Conner, number 16 for the running backs. Juju, number 29. Chase Claypool's in the 20s. Deontay Johnson's in the 20s. All those guys are in the 20s. Eric Ebron, number 11. He should get a touchdown, maybe 30, 50 yards for you. That should do you okay. On Baltimore's side, the best guy in this game for either team is Mark Andrews. He's the receiver they can count on, and of course, you know he's a tight end. What I mean is he's the only guy catching the ball. Marquise Brown's disappointed. He had 3 targets last week. Marquise Brown is the guy that puts out a tweet and says, why are you going to have soldiers if you ain't going to use them? And then you go out with 3 targets and you catch one the week before you get shut. They can't pass the ball. They can't pass the ball, and that's dangerous because teams get out in front of them, and then Baltimore can't run the ball either. So they're known to run the ball. They try to run the ball, and they sure as heck ain't passing the ball, so they can't catch up in the game. So teams that jump out in front of them, that's it. It's like they throw in the towel. And this week's even worse because you got Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobbins on the injured reserve, the COVID list. They're definitely out. They're definitely not playing here. Gus Edwards is the man. This is the guy you want in daily fantasy. Number 23 on the rankings here, going up against the stout Pittsburgh defense, and T.J. Watt, who says he knows all the calls and plays, but they're still going to get something done on the ground. He's number 23. Lamar Jackson, number 14 on the quarterback rankings. Look, when conventional wisdom says to go with the 10-0 team, Pittsburgh's favored in the game by 5.5. The game is in Pittsburgh. This is a counterintuitive game for me. I'm going to take the Ravens in an upset. Nobody thinks they can do it. Pittsburgh thinks they know everything. That's just the time you're going to get picked off. I like Baltimore in this game for the upset of the week.
Oh, Mike's doing the upset on this one. I'm going to stick with Pittsburgh in this game. You know, I think that I would like to think the Ravens will play better. I would like to think the Ravens will start to look more like the team we had hoped for, but I can't see them defeating the Steelers in Pittsburgh as the way that the Steelers team's right now. Granted, Pittsburgh has been playing. I shouldn't say I can't see it happening. I just don't think that it will. Pittsburgh has not played great. I mean, they're undefeated, but the teams that they defeated, the records of those teams and the way that they defeated some of those teams kind of makes you sit back and go, you know what I mean? Like, you're undefeated, but I look at these and say, okay, you barely beat the Broncos. You know, I mean, like, they took care of the Browns, but it's like you barely beat the Broncos, very close with the Cowboys at Dallas. So there's games like that where you kind of stop, but then you see what they've been able to do. I think Pittsburgh's going to go 11-0. I think there's a chance they could go undefeated. So I'm going to give love to Pittsburgh in this game, but I'm going to tell you to play Lamar Jackson. Gus Edwards as a flex guy. Hollywood is not doing anything for me. He's on 2 of my fantasy teams, and he's letting me down. Dez Bryant's my sneaky flex play of the week in this Baltimore game on Thanksgiving. Could get you some points early. He was targeted 5 times, caught 4 of them for 28 yards. Willie Snead's been the guy, though, in Baltimore. He is worth the play. And Mark Andrews, if he is a go, you got to put him out there. Right now, he's been a limited participant in practice with a thigh injury, but I would like to think that he'll be out there, so I put him out there for you. Big Ben Roethlisberger, it was a limited participant in practice with a quad injury, but I would anticipate Ben's playing, so I put Ben out there, James Conner as well. Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool get a little bit of a bump here to a low-end 2 receiver because of the fact that Juju is playing with a toe injury right now. If Juju's able to go, you can put him out there, but Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool are not bad players to put out there as low-end twos because I just think this could be a week for them, especially if Juju plays, but he's not at 100%. Eric Ebron is also worth the play as well. So a lot of fantasy value in the Turkey Day games that we have going on. Mike, we're going to switch gears and jump off to Sunday, so let's do that. The Raiders against the Falcons. The Raiders have been a pretty good team. The Falcons have been a really bad team. They don't seem to know how to play any type of defense. And how about the fact that the Saints held them to 9 points in a Taysom Hill victory, his first victory as a starting quarterback in the NFL. He gets the victory, but the thing is, not only did he play well, the Saints defense played incredible, further exposing the Falcons, who don't have a good defense. But now it's like, okay, well, their offense usually is the thing you can lean on. What are your thoughts about the Raiders coming into Hotlanta this weekend?
Well, the Falcons going into New Orleans last week, it's a tough place to play. It's a tough place to play when everything is normal, and nothing about 2020 has been normal on any level. So when you take that into consideration, you consider the Falcons fired their coach. They were 0-6. They managed to reel off a couple of victories after that. Then they go into New Orleans. I just think this is where they are. That's what they are. But you look at the Raiders and what they are. What they are is a team that almost beat the Chiefs again. The Raiders putting up points on the Chiefs, putting up 31. That was a heck of a game. Patrick Mahomes was awesome in that game, and you took away. The Chiefs are the better team, but only by a couple points there. The Raiders are a force to be reckoned with. The Raiders are going into the Dome in Atlanta, and I think you said a mouthful. Las Vegas has been playing very well, and you're going to get some value from them on the fantasy side. Of course, the first guy you think of is Darren Waller, the tight end. He's been a top 3 tight end all year. I just can't say enough about the guy. He's the target. He's the guy they're throwing to. He's number 2 on the tight ends, and the guy throwing him the ball is number 15, Derek Carr. And Josh Jacobs, number 4. This guy's solid. Anytime he's on the field, he can catch the ball. He can run between the tackles. He can run outside the tackles. The guy's been a beast. Again, ranked number 4 on the rankings this week. And then I'm looking over here at the wide receivers. I can't really find one that I can trust. I can't trust a Nelson Aguilar or Hunter Renfrow, a Henry Ruggs. These guys are in the 40s and in the 60s, so I'm definitely not playing any of those guys if I can help it. On Atlanta's side, there's a couple real good values here. Hayden Hurst, bro, you're disappointing me. You're disappointing me big time, putting up the goose egg last week. What is wrong, Hayden Hurst? We need to get something going here. I still have faith in you. You're number 8 on the tight end ranking this week, and the guy throwing you the ball, Matt Ryan, he's number 8 on the quarterback rankings this week running the ball. It's all Todd Gurley, number 10. And then you look at the wide receivers. Calvin Ridley has passed Julio Jones in my mind. I got Calvin Ridley ranked number 9 this week, and Julio Jones ranked number 24. Looking at this game from a win or lose perspective, this could be a surprising game because, again, you can't go into New Orleans like the Falcons did last week and expect to win. The Falcons have had a tumultuous season, but the Raiders are just a force to be reckoned with. It's just going to be too much. I think the Raiders win in a close game.
Yeah, I got the Raiders winning in this game as well, Mike. Yeah, and here inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. Perfect place to watch the games, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. And you can get in touch with them there and obviously go on-site on location to 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus. You can also do curbside pickup, takeout, and delivery by calling 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat. And I appreciate them so very much and thank them for all the work that they have done to navigate through these very interesting times that will get better. With that being said, this game, black on black, Raiders logo, Falcons logo, seeing this, blackout type of game, I'm excited. I'm excited for the Raiders. They've definitely done more, and I appreciate that. They're playing the Falcons defense, so Derek Carr needs to be out there, Josh Jacobs as well. Their wide receivers, I agree with you, they're all flex guys. Aguilar, Ruggs, and Hunter Renfrow, flex. Darren Waller's worth the play, but it's really Derek Carr and Josh Jacobs, I think, in my opinion, of this game against the Falcons. On Atlanta's side, I don't feel good about anybody except for Calvin Ridley. So that's what I'm going to tell you. Hayden Hurst didn't sell me in Baltimore. That's how he lost his job to Mark Andrews, and he's not selling me now by any stretch of the imagination. They got rid of Hooper, which I thought was the wrong decision, and Hooper hasn't been able to figure it out either, and Hurst isn't figuring it out. So I think the best play for you is Calvin Ridley. Even in a bad game, he had 90 yards receiving to lead the team last week in a loss to the Saints. So I'm going to tell you Ridley. And anybody else that you got to lean on from Atlanta, I would question where your team is at this point. I'm going with the Raiders on the road. Next one up, Mr. Sofka, is Josh Allen up against Justin Herbert. What do you have for this one as the Chargers come into Buffalo, New York?
Yeah, Justin Herbert's having a heck of a year right now. He's got to be the leading candidate for Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. You know, in the last game, I know it was against the Jets, and you know you're supposed to dominate against the Jets, but you're not supposed to dominate as a rookie. You're not supposed to put up 366 yards and 3 touchdowns, going 37 for 49. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do that when, you know, you're not supposed to know these things because we had a shortened season. We didn't have a rookie camp. We didn't have a regular training camp. So the learning curve has been a lot longer of a stride for a lot of these guys. And you look at Justin Herbert, he found out 10 minutes before, one of the first game there, and he's like, hey, you're starting. And then he's the starter. He goes out there and blows it up. He's made his mistakes. He's going to continue to make mistakes. The NFL's not easy. Peyton Manning should be enshrined in the Hall of Fame here. By the way, he's still 0-4 against the Florida Gators. Peyton Manning even threw a lot of interceptions his first year. I think Justin Herbert's having a better year than Peyton Manning did in his rookie year. That being said, this is going to be a tough road to hoe going into Buffalo. Buffalo's a good team. They're coming off the bye, but Josh Allen should impress this week. Chargers defense, especially the secondary, is banged up. Linebackers are banged up. Josh Allen, number 2 on the quarterback rankings. Stephon Diggs, number 1 receiver this week. He's the silent assassin. Not a lot of people are going to see this guy come and play him in daily. He's number 1 this week. John Brown, Cole Beasley, they're in the 30s and 40s. I would play them as a flex if I had to. Neither one of the running backs, Zach Moss or Singletary or anybody's put up a 100-yard rushing game all year. These guys are emergency flex plays in the 30s, 31 and 39 with Singletary and Moss respectively. Going over to the Chargers, though, Justin Herbert. He's up there as well at quarterback. Justin Herbert is number 7 on the quarterback rankings this week. Keenan Allen, number 2. That's one of the reasons. He's got one of the best receivers. He also has one of the best tight ends in Hunter Henry, number 6 on the rankings this week. And the running back situation has been in flux every week. You don't know who's going to get the ball. Kalen Ballage has come out of nowhere the past couple weeks. Hopefully you took advantage of that. I put out every week. I put out on Monday nights or Tuesday mornings, I put out the waiver wire pickups, and he of course was on that a couple weeks ago. Hopefully you were able to scoop him up in time to get those. A lot of guys see this. Kalen Ballage, oh my God, they go to the waiver wire and he's already on your team. That's a good feeling when you get texts from guys going, how did you know that? Why did you do that? That's a great feeling, and Kalen Ballage was that story this year. Number 20 on the running back rankings. Austin Eckler should be activated off IR this week. Doesn't mean he's going to start. Doesn't mean he's going to play. But I have confidence he's going to see a little time on the field. I've got him ranked. I've got him ranked number 31, so a flex for you. Temper your expectations. It's going to take a week or two for him to get up to full speed. Look, I'm looking at this game, and this is a choice game to watch. This is a game I'm really interested in because the Chargers can move the ball, but so can the Bills. The Bills are the better team up and down, offense and defense, and they're playing at home. I got to go with Buffalo.
Yeah, I got to go with Buffalo as well as my little one here. Miss Lily has invaded my studio and is trying to get on the microphone this morning. She might take over for me at some point, but. Chargers at Bills, I'm going with the Bills as well. Herbert is worth the play. Kalen Ballage is worth flexing out as well in this. Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry, I like them all in this matchup, and I think they're all worth putting out there. On the Buffalo side of things, Josh Allen's worth putting out there. Singletary and Moss, I agree with you. I have Moss, and he has let me down in the last week or two, so I would tell you that he's a flex guy at this point. Stephon Diggs is worth the play. And Cole Beasley gets some value, especially with John Brown being banged up a little bit. So that's what I look at. Dawson Knox is kind of a sneaky tight end too, by the way, this week if you throw him out there. But ultimately, I think it's going to be great quarterback play, Herbert versus Allen. And this might be a turnover and an extra possession difference in the game. But I'm going to go with Buffalo in the matchup for the Bills to win this game at home. Next one we have up on the docket, Mr. Sofka, inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour. Proudly brought to you by the Wildcat Sports Pub. Before we take a step aside here, we have a couple games to go before we take a step aside and get ready for the rest of them. So the next one here on the docket are the Giants at the Bengals. All I can say is thank goodness we weren't subjected to this on Thanksgiving. So what do you have for the Giants at the Bengals?
Yeah, if you saw the Bengals last week, it was kind of weird because they played Washington. You have Washington with Alex Smith, the comeback story of the year, out almost 2 full years, a year and a half, what have you. And then on the other side of the ball, you got Joe Burrow, who should have been Rookie of the Year outside of Justin Herbert, but those chances are gone with the season-ending injury here. He's out 9 to 12 months with an ACL, an MCL, and he has damage to his meniscus. So I'm leaning toward the 12-month recovery time. That's important to know if you're in dynasty leagues, of course. The Bengals have been off tracks all year. Running back Joe Mixon's been banged up all year. The Giants are coming off a bye, though. The Giants should feel a little better coming into this game. They're going into Cincinnati, and I'll just give it up right now. I think the Giants are going to win this game, and I'm going to tell you how they're going to win it. They're going to win it behind Evan Ingram, number 10 on the tight end rankings. Daniel Jones, number 17 on the quarterback rankings. Wayne Gallman has taken over that role in the backfield. Forget about Devonta Freeman, and he's still on IR, but Wayne Gallman, again, temper your expectations. When I talk excitedly about somebody, before the year started, at your draft, you didn't even know who Wayne Gallman was, a lot of people. Now I'm talking about him being the number 24 running back. It doesn't mean supplant him from Aaron Jones or what have you. You know, temper your expectations. He's number 24 on the rankings. Going over on the other side, I'm trying to find some value. I'm trying to find some money for you. Cincinnati going to start Brandon Allen this week. Everybody thought it was going to be Ryan Finley automatically, but they're going to start Brandon Allen. So, needless to say, you can't start him. Okay, he's number 33 out of 32 teams on my rankings this week. Giovanni Bernard is the only hope here, though. You know, help us, Obi-Wan. You're our only hope. That's Giovanni Bernard this week, number 11 on the running back rankings. Tyler Boyd, number 19. T. Higgins, number 31. I can't start a tight end from Cincinnati. And again, I gave up my winner right away. I think it's going to be all Giants.
Yeah, I think the Giants luck out. They don't have to play Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, even though there's been a bunch of losses, he's kept the team in games, and now we don't have that. Now that's not the case. And now, I mean, and I said this as a joke, but it's real. Like, I said a joke, but it's serious. 3-7 in the NFC East is good enough. Like, I cannot bang this drum more than I've already banged the drum, but I will. In the NFC East right now, Philadelphia is in first place at 3-6-1. The Giants, the Cowboys, and the Washington football team are all 3-7. We are in a place right now where even the teams that are trying to lose are vying for first place. Anyone in the division can take first place this week. That's how gross this is. That's how insane this sounds, but it's real. It's true. Whether it makes sense to you or not, or you could wrap your head around it or not, this is real. Just like people eating toilet paper to protect themselves from corona. This is real. So, the New York Giants, congratulations. You're still in the hunt for the NFC East and a home playoff game. And I think you'll get this victory too. Wayne Gallman, worth a flex for you. Darius Slayton, worth a flex for you. Evan Ingram is the guy to play on the Giants. Even though I think they're going to win this game, I don't see a ton of fantasy value. On the other side of it, for Cincinnati losing Joe Burrow, this is huge. It makes Giovanni Bernard have a little bit more weight to him. It makes you question if T. Higgins is going to get the looks because every quarterback has their guy. So I'd use Higgins and Tyler Boyd as flexes just because you want to. I don't think you don't want to leave either one of them off. But you want to see which one that Brandon Allen's going to lean on more. By the way, Brandon Allen was in Jacksonville. And he did really well in the preseason a couple of years ago, and they let him go for some stupid reason that makes no sense to me. and now here he is as a starter, and the Jaguars are playing their third starting quarterback this year. So if that helps to paint a picture for you of where Jacksonville is at, and maybe they should have kept Brandon Allen, just saying. I know Gardner went out because he was injured, but, Mike Lennon taking the starting job from Jake Luton this week, just kind of crazy. But so I think Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins should be flex guys for you because of the situation. I think they will get looks. It's just hard to tell who's going to get more at this point. And I will go with the Giants in this matchup. There's some fantasy value, not a ton, but I'll go with them. The fight for the AFC South, which is what you and I thought it would come down to. Well, it's coming down to it, Mike. The Titans and the Colts play each other in Indianapolis. What do you think?
Yeah, Indianapolis is playing that song. What's that song? Feeling good like I should in the neighborhood, sunshine on my Sunday best or whatever. I don't know the song. They're strutting.
Can you say that again? I think that's going to be the new intro song to us. I'm gonna put some music behind it, and I just want you to speak it exactly the way you did.
All right, we'll work on that. Look, Indianapolis is feeling great, coming off beating Aaron Rodgers in your house. I don't know how they're doing it. I say I don't know how they're doing it because I don't see the value. Well, they're doing it behind offensive line play, and they're doing it behind their defense, which has been surprising. The Titans, coming off that victory, they're feeling good again. They're the same thing. They're feeling good in the neighborhood, sunshine on their shoulders and all that stuff. Look, the Titans are high on cloud nine. They're about to get slapped down to reality. Mike Tyson said everybody's got a plan to get punched in the mouth. They're fixing to get punched in the mouth by that offensive line and that defense of the Colts. It's hard to find some fantasy value here on Indianapolis, but as a team, they're a cohesive unit that's able to put together 7 wins. And this is no joke. They're not playing I know Houston's down a little bit. I know Jacksonville's way down a little bit. But Indianapolis has the players to back it up. Unfortunately, they don't have any top-tier players that you can win money on playing fantasy football. According to the rankings, Phillip Rivers, number 18 on the rankings this week. And here's where it's been challenging. Each week it's been a different running back. Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines, Jordan Wilkins. Look, if I had to rank them, and I do, Jonathan Taylor, number 21 on the rankings, and Nyheim Hines, number 26. I have no confidence in Jordan Wilkins. And the receivers, I have no confidence in the receivers or the tight ends. T.Y. Hilton, Dak Pascal. Michael Pittman is the one sole bright and shining spot. He seems to be a guy on the rise. And remember, rookies right now are on the incline. They're taking off. They have a lot of upside right now because, again, no rookie camp, no extended training camp. They didn't have the time they need. They're just now getting up to speed. And I'm talking about the premier players. And one of them you're going to see is Michael Pittman. I can't count on that right now, though. Trey Burton, number 25. Here's a guy who wasn't even on the team at the beginning of the season, comes in, starts catching touchdown balls. That's what you want if you're in a touchdown-only league. Looking over at the Titans, though, the Titans have a little bit more value on the fantasy side. I like Derrick Henry. What's not to like about Derrick Henry? Every week he's a top 10 performer. This week, number 9, only running back you can start from Tennessee. Ryan Tannehill, he's up and down, but again, he's playing that Trent Dilfer type role. Don't screw it up. Don't mess it up. He can still go out there and pass for 259 and 2 touchdowns like he did last week against the Ravens. I think he'll have a similar game. He's number 23 on the quarterback rankings. Jonnu Smith, number 17 on the tight end rankings. And A.J. Brown and Corey Davis, 27 and 34 respectively. These are guys that are going to be your wide receiver 3s and your flexes. I think there's a lot of fantasy points going to be made in this game. But I think the team that's going to win this game is the Colts.
I'm with you. The Colts in the last 2 weeks have shown me something, and I am paying attention. There's something, and I feel it, and I know it, and it's real, and I agree with you. The fantasy value, but the team itself, this is one of those conundrums where fantasy doesn't look great, but reality looks really good, or vice versa. The Titans, Derrick Henry. Hello, if you don't play Derrick Henry, I don't just question your fantasy football intelligence. I question if you know that you're supposed to put your pants on one leg at a time. So, Derrick Henry, I'm going to give it up to you. A.J. Brown, I'm going to put you as a low end 2, high end 3. Jonnu Smith, tight end 2. The money's in Derrick Henry. On the Colts side of it, you're right. You can't trust in Jonathan Taylor. I've had him and I've tried. Nyheim Hines, a little bit more trust. Michael Pittman, not a bad flex for you. I like him in this one. I think Jack Doyle's going to get a touchdown in this one, so just let me know that I'm just letting you know that I'm telling you that now. So I think Jack Doyle will get a touchdown in this. I'm going to go with the Colts in this matchup. Derrick Henry's the best fantasy guy on either side in the matchup, but the win to the Colts, in my opinion. With that being said, Sofka and I are going to take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, we got plenty more coming up in this Fantasy Football Power Hour extension. It should be called the Power Hours, as I always say. Brought to you by the Wildcat Sports Pub. Under promise, over deliver. That's what the Wildcat does. That's what we do. That's why we're happy to work together here in Central New York, inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Sofka and I will be back right after this. Make sure in the meantime you go to HallOfFameFantasyFootball.com, check out his work, and make sure while you're on Facebook listening and watching right now, you type in Winning Fantasy Football in your search bar, and you join our group today. With that being said, Mike and I will be with you right after this fast break.
Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carbolite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, Carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carbolite ice cream. Carvo DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, as well as on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. And, of course, on Facebook Live, what do? They do that thing whenever they're on the camera. They say, "Hi, Mom." So, what up, Mom? Hi, Dad. Hi, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. We're inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Cafe Kubal, 5 locations in Central New York for you. The Pumpkin Spice Chai DT Special is at every single one of those locations, and I didn't choose it to be my favorite for any other reason than the fact that it is fantastically amazing and different than any other chai I've had anywhere else. Cafe Kubal, you know how to do it. It's local. It's here. They make it here. They sell it here. They send it around the community here. Cafe Kubal, you are something special. And you can get your own coffee. And you can, if you have a loved one somewhere else, you want to ship something to them, a little care package, you can buy that Cafe Kubal coffee and send it off to them as well, and the cold brew and everything. So make sure that you do that. 3501 James Street, 401 South Salina Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, and, of course, inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital. The mobile cafe will come to you, and local delivery will deliver straight to your doorstep. You can get all of that information at cafekubal.com. That's Kubal. and you can get it on wakeupcalldt.com on the Central New York tab by clicking on Cafe Kubal. It'll all be there for you as well. With that being said, we're inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour. Not one of. It's the one that you should be watching and listening to every single week. Why? Not because there's not other talent out there. There's a ton of talented people out there in this world. But I don't think anybody does it like Mike and I. I don't think the goatee game and the beard game are the same anywhere else. So for the goatee, for the beard, what do they say? You come for the football, you stay for the facial hair? I think that's what they say. So with that being said, or maybe that's something I literally just made up, but I like it, Mike. I think that's going to be our tagline. I'm going to do a little video, and it's going to say Fantasy Football, the Fantasy Football Power Hour. You come for the fantasy advice, you stay for the beards. So with that I like it too. So with that being said, I'm amped. I'm ready to go, man. We got a lot of stuff to get into, a lot of games to talk about. So we're gonna run through these for you here, folks. We've already given you a bunch. We gave you everything on Turkey Day, and so now it's time for us to jump into the rest of the festivities. The next one on the docket, Carolina at Minnesota. My guy, P.J. Mother-freaking Walker, not from the XFL only. I covered this man when he was at Temple. Philip P.J. Walker. That's right, I know his real first name because I've been covering him for a long time. I am ecstatic that he was on the team, that he made the roster, that Carolina gave him a chance. And guess what? Where did Matt Rule coach before he came to Carolina? He coached at Temple. Where did P.J. Walker play? Temple. He knows the talent that he's got in P.J. Walker, and I'm really excited to see what P.J. can do if and when he gets all these opportunities coming up. They're playing Minnesota on the road. Minnesota knows what it's like to be a team that's really not playing that well. They have done some good things. They got Delvin Cook, but they are confusing when it comes to the reality of wins and losses. What are your thoughts on Carolina at Minnesota?
Yeah, well, Carolina, like you said, coming off that victory with P.J. Walker, huge. We saw him playing in the Alliance League with Houston, did real well. You know, you and I had talked about Alliance Fantasy Football. We had talked about, certain guys, and he was one of the 4 or 5 guys we definitely talked about every week. Looking at this game, though, Dallas handed Minnesota a disappointing loss in Minnesota last week, and the Minnesota Vikings put up a lot of fantasy points for you. I'll get to that in a second. But on the other side of the ball, more importantly, I think P.J. Walker did a great job, but he's not Teddy Bridgewater. I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to be back this week. And again, temper your expectations. Teddy Bridgewater is not a top 10 quarterback every week. He's usually the guy you're going to fill in on your bye or what have you. He may have been dropped by some people with the problem with his knee, so look out for that. But Teddy Bridgewater, number 20 on the ranking. Mike Davis, you got to like Carolina, almost a plug-and-play situation, but you can't say that because both McCaffrey and Davis are great. Make no mistake, Davis is no McCaffrey. McCaffrey's one of the number 1, especially PPR, running back in the league every week, week in, week out. Mike Davis is up there. He's top 10, but he's not Christian McCaffrey. That being said, he's still going to have a great game because they still have the confidence. That's like the formula around the NFL right now, to have 2 great running backs. One goes down, you plug the other one in. They just have to be happy. It's bad for fantasy players with the committee situations because it takes away from that position, which you probably drafted really high. But Mike Davis, plug-and-play guy, number 7 on the rankings this week. Robbie Anderson's been phenomenal. No, hey, he went to Temple too, didn't he?
Robbie Anderson? I think I'm pretty. Hold on, let me just double check myself this morning before I go and say anything. But Robbie Anderson, because he was a former Jet, and so I know what he did when he went there. And I believe that you are right, Mr. Sofka, and I'm double checking my factual statements here. And yes, he went to Temple.
There you go. So that's the magic combination there. And, I think I saw a feel-good story early in the season or before the season about Robbie Anderson coming to play for Matt Rule, and that's one of the reasons he had other opportunities, but he felt comfortable with Matt Rule. And that's what you need. You need loyalty. You need guys like that if you're going to build something. So hats off to Matt Rule again. Robbie Anderson, number 8 on the wide receiver rankings this week. DJ Moore, number 22. Curtis Samuel, number 23. I can't play Ian Thomas. I can't play any tight end over there. I can't even play a tight end across the board on Minnesota. They're in the 30s. Yeah, they might sneak in a touchdown here or there, Irv Smith or Kyle Rudolph, but you can't count on that. So again, those guys ranked in the 30s. Adam Thielen on the COVID list. I don't know if he's going to be cleared by the time the game shakes out here, but whether he is or not, I've kept him off my rankings on purpose because of that situation. I don't know. The NFL's cat and mouse. Sometimes you get all the information. Sometimes they just say he's on the list. I guess it's because of the personal medical thing. It's not related to football. It's an illness outside the sport. But I don't have Adam Thielen ranked at all. So pay attention. If he's in your lineup every week, plug and play guy, you better have somebody else to put in there. People that picked up Justin Jefferson weeks ago, again, he's a rookie on the incline. He's got a high ceiling here. He's got a high floor. This is a guy that's going to get you some points. Number 18 on the wide receiver rankings, and Dalvin Cook. Last week, Dalvin Cook ran for 115 yards and a touchdown. That's what Dalvin Cook does. That's what you can count on. And then every once in a while, he pops in a 200-yard game. Dalvin Cook, when he's healthy, is definitely one of the top guys in the league. This week, he's number 1 again on my rankings. Dalvin Cook. Alexander Madison might get a few touches here and there, but it's all Dalvin Cook. That's the good thing for fantasy players. You got that one guy there. That's who you want, of course. Dalvin Cook, number 1 on the rankings. And Kirk Cousins. What did he do last week? 314 and 3 touchdowns. I know it was against the Cowboys. I know they came up short, but that's a performance you need at home. You got 2 home games. The Panthers coming off what was a great win for them. I don't think it's going to be enough for the Vikings. Now, I know the Vikings give up some running yards. They're not strong in that department, but I think they got a better running back, not by much, in Dalvin Cook than Carolina has in Mike Davis. And for that reason alone, I'm going to take the Vikings at home.
Yeah, and when you look at this, and I mean, it's tough. This is a really tough game to decide upon because, and I think if P.J. Walker does play, I think he's going to continue to do good things. I really do. And, and like you said, that connection, Temple, Matt Rule connected to Temple, Robbie Anderson connected to Temple, and P.J. Walker connected to Temple is pretty amazing. Something really, really cool. And a shout out to Temple and the American Athletic Conference for those of you that think that it's not a real conference with real teams. Well, 3 of those are right there in Carolina, and there's some good things I think they're building toward. Even if you don't see it right away, I think they're building toward a positive future in Carolina with some of these guys. Christian McCaffrey, CMC, it's been hurting, so you got to play Mike Davis. P.J. Walker's a quarterback, too, in this. Mike Davis is worth the play, though, because he's going to get the touches. Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. Robbie Anderson is a wide receiver 2. DJ Moore I put as a wide receiver 3. For Minnesota, yes, it's all Dalvin Cook. Justin Jefferson, what a pickup by some people. They're the 2 guys to play. I'm going to give the slight edge to Minnesota because they can run the ball the way that they run the ball with Dalvin Cook. So I'm going to give them the slight edge in this matchup, and I'm going to agree with you, Mike, on Minnesota. Next one we got up, the Arizona Cardinals. What did we say? We said that they would defeat Buffalo, and we said it would be close. What did I say? Didn't I say it was going to be in the 30s and it would be close? Didn't I say 33-30? It was 32-30. I believe I said 30s. I believe I said close. I believe I said either team could win, and I said Arizona. Well, Arizona now has the New England Patriots, and guess what? This is a weaker matchup than Buffalo. When's the last time we could say that? Buffalo's strong. New England's okay. New England shocked me sometimes. The way they played against Baltimore was utterly ridiculous for, speaking of Baltimore, but really good for New England. What are your thoughts on Arizona at New England? An Arizona team that I said, watch out for. I said that, they may not be the best, but watch out for them this year. They were that team that I just, little by little, more and more, I'm like, you do not want to play Arizona. And good for them. DeAndre Hopkins, one of the most lopsided trades in NFL history, might go down as the biggest one, or close. What are your thoughts on the Cardinals at Foxborough?
Yeah, I think New England's going to be happy the Patriots are to go back home and play a game back home. I'm sure the weather is going to be, not Arizona weather, but it's only going to be in the 50s if I'm not mistaken. I'm not expecting any snow or anything crazy like that. But you would think from that Baltimore game that, Bill Belichick, not only do they do the videotaping of teams, but they turn on the water spigot when Lamar Jackson was on the field, and they brought on this torrential downpour, and then magically, once the clock hit 0, the rain stopped. I mean, it was like he was parting the seas. It was like he was Moses standing up there with his arms spread touchdown-wise. It was crazy. Bill Belichick is not a man to be played with, and Bill Belichick, even though he's facing the Cardinals and even though he's at home, this game's going to be a lot closer than people think. I know the Cardinals are a steamroll team. They are coming off a loss at Seattle, and you know, the Patriots are coming off a loss in a game they should have won on the road in Houston. But you still got to wonder what Belichick is going to have up his sleeve. I'm going to start with Arizona. Kyler Murray, number 1 quarterback on the rankings this week. Heck of a Hail Mary play 2 weeks ago. Pull the game out to DeAndre Hopkins, who high-pointed the ball. And I'm sure everybody's seen it. That was 2 weeks ago. I still can't get enough of that play. DeAndre Hopkins, number 5 on the wide receiver rankings. Christian Kirk, number 39. Dan Arnold, he might surprise you. He might pop one. He might not. I can't start this cat. I got him ranked at 34 this week. Kenyon Drake and Chase Edmonds, this is going to be more of a mired mess, but I don't think you can run the ball effectively against New England in New England. I've got Kenyon Drake ranked 22, and I got Chase Edmonds ranked 34. Going over to the other side of the ball, there's some surprises for New England. There's some surprises for the Patriots, and one of those surprises is you don't know who to play. It's a surprise every week. I'm surprised last week that Damari Bird ran off for 132 yards. Everybody in the fantasy world, what are they doing? They run out and grab Damari Bird, then he's going to tank the rest of the season. There's a reason why you didn't know who Damari Bird was before this game. It's going to be the reason you forget about him and drop him next week. Never chase points. Always have validity behind your selections. It's good to grab a guy, but you have to have more than a 1-week performance to be able to roster him, unless you have an enormous bench. New England, I like Cam Newton. What did Cam Newton do last week? He put up over 300 yards passing. That's right, Cam, the guy who calls his own number on runs a lot, 365 through the air and a touchdown. Now, I said before you don't know who to play. I mean wide receiver. Is it Jacoby Myers? Is it N'Keal Harry? Is it Damari Bird? I'm not starting any of those guys. How about the running? Is it Damian Harris? Is it James White? Rex Burkhead's done for the year now. Sony Michel's back up off the practice squad. I can't start any of those cats. The guy I can start is Cam Newton. For that reason, I'm going to go with the better quarterback, the better team on the road in New England. I just think this game's going to be a lot closer than people think.
Yeah, you know, I think that this is definitely. I agree. I think it is going to be closer. The Patriots, you can never count them out. I mean, I think we saw that with the Baltimore game. You can never count them out in anything. I mean, Cam Newton didn't look good. The team didn't look good. You know, and still they have these games where they win. And then you start thinking, like, I can already hear the NFL highlight, right? I can hear NFL films going, and on a cold day in Foxborough. Like, I can feel that all over again. I'm like, this team, when they're out of it, they're never out of it. And they're talented. They get it done. And again, you know, Julian Wiggin brought it up. When a team isn't doing that well, when the things aren't going as well, it comes down to coaching, right? It comes down to a coach. When you're trying to take the talent and work with what you got, you don't have Tom Brady anymore. It comes down to the coach. And this coach is fantastic. And that's why they're doing what they're doing. Now, questionable for this game is Kyler Murray with an AC joint injury. By the way, and that's a shoulder injury for those of you that need to know. But I do want to make mention the Buffalo game that I talked about with Arizona was 2 weeks ago, not last week. So please, everything I said about it, yes, but it was 2 weeks ago. So Kyler Murray, if he's able to go in this game, play him. DeAndre Hopkins, play him as well. Drake and Edmonds are relegated, in my opinion, to flex guys. I'd lean on, I mean, it's kind of dead even. I'd probably say 51% Drake, 49% Edmonds. But then that changes back and forth, so I'd say flex for that. But DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray is where it's at on this team as far as fantasy football goes for Arizona. On New England's side of things, I would tell you that, you know, for whatever reason, you know, and I want, you know, Mike, I wonder if they panned out, if there was just like one cloud hovering over, you know, Foxborough, and then it just goes away. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if that was the case, because there's some black magic stuff going on in New England. We've known that for a long time. There's something going on there, but I will give them some credit. Their lobster rolls are fantastical in the press box, so I will say that. And so then maybe that's how they keep you coming around. You're like, isn't that cloud only over Foxborough and it's a clear night? And they're like, here, try this lobster roll. And you're like, no. And then you forget everything. You forget everything. You know, you just kind of forget life in that. It's like lobster roll, I feel good. Now I'm going night. But, yeah.
Don't pay any attention to the man behind the green curtain.
Right, that's how it feels exactly. It's like, oh, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. You know, it's like having a snake come to you and everybody going, oh, look at the kitty. So that's the reality of it all. Cam Newton in this game is a quarterback too, but I still think that he's going to do some trickery in this, so just watch out for it. Damian Harris I would have as a low-end 2, high-end 3 running back in this matchup. And Jacoby Myers, N'Keal Harry, I mean, this is not an easy thing to do. These are lower flex guys, in my opinion. There's not a ton of fantasy value, but I think Cam Newton and Damian Harris are going to do something right, but I'm going to side with Mike and pick Arizona. Miami at the New York Jets. What do you have for this, sir?
Yeah, well, these games are always closer than, you know, a lot of people would like them to be, but that's what you get when you get AFC East. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at 0-10 if the Jets won this game, but not so fast. I'm not going to get that crazy. The Dolphins, they just couldn't get it done last week. Both teams coming off a loss. They gave up a lot of points here. I don't think that the Jets giving up 34 points to the Chargers and a rookie quarterback is far from what Tua Tagovailoa can do. He can really move the ball. He had trouble last week, though. He got benched in the third quarter. They bring in, you know, the old man with the beard, Father Time, to come in and slop it up. They had a chance. They had a chance to win the game. They were within a touchdown. I can see a similar game. I can see within a touchdown either way in this game. But on a fantasy perspective, you know, you're going to look at a couple value plays. One of the value plays is Devontae Parker, number 14 on the rankings this week. Mike Gesicki, number 15 on the tight end rankings. Tua is ranked number 22. And I don't know if we're going to see much of Salvon Ahmed. I think that Myles Gaskin might be back. For that reason, I have Myles Gaskin 29 on the rankings. I have Salvon Ahmed number 42. And on the other side of the ball for the Jets, are we going to see Sam Darnold come back? I think that's the play for them. It's not the play for me. He's ranked number 32 on my rankings this week. Frank Gore number 35, and that's with LaMichael Perine with the ankle injury. He's going to be out. But Frank Gore, he's an old guy. He can't handle the load. He can't run for 100 yards and 3 touchdowns. Last week he did run for 60 yards and a touchdown, so it's not bad. He's ranked number 35 on the rankings. All the wide receivers for the Jets, I can't count on any of those cats. Crowder 41, Perryman 56, Denzel Mims 38, and Chris Herndon 36. Because I can't count on any of the Jets players, but I might be able to count on a Miami Dolphin, I'm going to take Miami to win this game. But again, a close game, and it wouldn't surprise me if it went either way.
Yeah, you know, and it's crazy. I mean, we look at the fact that Tua Tagovailoa was benched, and, you know, to look back at that moment, benched in the fourth quarter of the 20-13 loss, and I commend Brian Flores for doing this. He's still the starting quarterback, but the reality of, like, wanting to spark him, wanting to let him know that it can be taken away, wanting to let him understand that, like, hey, we need to do better. There's got to be better. You got to see this. You can't just rest in your laurels and be okay with it. So I respect that move by Flores because I don't think a lot of people have the balls to do it. And when they do have the balls to do it, they still don't do it. I mean, there's quarterbacks where I sit there and I go, why is that guy out there? Why? Did somebody pay you off? I mean, like, why is this person there? And to take Tua out and say, you played at Alabama, you played at Alabama, You're one of the top picks of recent drafts, yet I can bench you if I want you to learn something. I like that. I appreciate that, and I respect it. With that being said, I like Tua in this game. I think it'll light a fire under his tuchus, and I look forward to seeing that. Outside of that, you know, it's hard for me to tell you anybody running the ball for Miami. Salvon Ahmed is the starter on the depth chart, but it's hard for me to have you lean on anybody. I would say Tua and Mike Gesicki, in my opinion, with an outside look at Durham Smythe because Tua's looked at him, so you have to look at him too. On the other side of it, there's nothing. There's nothing that I like on this. I mean, I'm really happy Mekhi Becton that I covered in his recruitment and went to Louisville as the left tackle there as a rookie. That makes me excited for the Jets. But outside of that, the Jets are going to be 0-11, in my opinion, and there's only a couple players on Miami's side that look good in this game. I'm going to go with Miami. Cleveland at the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars, mind you. Now, let's go full circle, shall we? Mike Glennon was the quarterback of the Chicago Bears. Then Jacksonville brought in Nick Foles. They drafted Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew became the starter. They sent Nick Foles to the Chicago Bears. In sending Nick Foles to the Chicago Bears, they leaned on Gardner Minshew. Then they drafted Jake Luton. Gardner went down with an injury. They brought in Jake Luton. And now they're going to Mike Glennon, who is the former Chicago Bear, now Jacksonville Jaguar, as we come full circle on one of the world's worst carousels ever. Cleveland at Jacksonville. I want to throw up. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's funny when you mention Jacksonville in that quarterback situation. Everybody says Jake Luton, Jake Luton. And when you hear it, it sounds like they're talking about gluten. Well, they're going to be gluten-free. They're done. They're gluten-free, all right? So, but I don't think you can count on Mike Glennon. I mean, I don't think you can count on much from Jacksonville except the one player that we talked about at the beginning that we were thankful for being Thanksgiving this week, James Robinson, number 5 on the running back rankings. DJ Chark, number 26. It looks like Laviska Shenault's still going to be out he's done, I think. Keelan Cole, number 47 on the rankings. Tyler Eifert, number 22. I really don't like any of those guys. I don't like Mike Glennon this week. He's number 33 out of 32 teams, so that should tell you something. On the other side of the ball is a little more value for you. It's the better team. It's not high fantasy value, but there are some guys to play. I still have faith in Austin Hooper, number 9 on the tight end rankings this week. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, this is a premier 1-2 punch. I got Chubb, who's back now, 17 on the rankings, Kareem Hunt, number 12, and Baker Mayfield, number 25 on the rankings. Jarvis Landry, number 37 on the wide receiver rankings. I can't really count on any of the other receivers here. I think Cleveland comes in off that big victory over the Eagles, the NFC team. I think the Browns have just enough moxie and just enough talent to walk into Jacksonville and thump Jacksonville. I don't know if it's going to be close. I'm going to take Cleveland.
It makes me, again, sick to my stomach to look at this and go, Cleveland's going to win big. They're not going to win. They're going to win convincingly. They're going to score 30 or 40 points in this game. If you have fantasy players on Cleveland, open the floodgates. Now, does Jacksonville sometimes win games they're not supposed to? Yes. But I didn't understand the hoopla under Doug Marrone, and I don't get it now. And it's not me wishing bad on Doug Marrone by any stretch of the imagination in any way, shape, or form. I just don't buy it. I think the era needs to end, and I think new blood needs to come in. And I think that they really, 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 really need to think about their next head coach because they have not done a great job at selecting any of them in recent history.
Eric Bieniemy, that's your guy, Eric Bieniemy. Bring him in.
Well, you know what? And that's supposed to be the guy that's always on the list, but he never gets a call. Maybe Jacksonville should be smart enough to do it. Shad Khan, let's go. Eric Bieniemy, he just coached on a team that won a Super Bowl. Not a big deal. Probably should look to that. And he knows how to score. That's probably important, too. So if you're Cleveland, you'll score. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, like them both. Jarvis Landry, worth putting out there as well because he's playing the Jaguars. Austin Hooper, I would not tell you to play on any other week, but he's a high end. He's a tight end 2 to me. And maybe let's say a high end, but he's a tight end 2 to me because he's playing Jacksonville. On the other side of it, it's James Robinson, and that's it. So here's to you, Mr. Robinson. Jesus loves you more than you know. Whoa, oh. I mean, that's how I feel.
It's a music-filled day. It's a music-filled show. It's great.
It is a very music-filled show. So I'm going with the Browns. Saints at the Broncos. What do you have for this?
Yeah, well, the Saints coming off that home victory, of course, over the Falcons, and the Broncos coming off a game that I didn't think they were going to win at home against the Dolphins. So this is going to be an interesting game. You know, a lot of times they said Drew Brees doesn't play well on the road. Well, Drew Brees isn't going to play well on the road because he's not going to be playing. The guy that is going to be playing, Taysom Hill, did a fine job last week. I think he did enough. I mean, he had 250 in the area, like 50 on the ground, scored some touchdowns, running. He didn't have a passing touchdown, but more importantly, Michael Thomas got back involved. 9 receptions for 100 and some odd yards. He was over 100 yards. I think it was 150, 160 yards. So this is an offense that's finding itself behind Taysom Hill. You look at the coaching staff in New Orleans, and you hear, that Taysom Hill's going to start. Everybody assumed, it would be Jameis Winston. I got news for you. Jameis Winston, we've talked about him before. He's not a leader of men. Taysom Hill is a leader of men. Taysom Hill is Tim Tebow done right. Taysom Hill is a force to be reckoned with. You look around the league, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson. You look at these mobile guys. That's what New Orleans is going to go to in the post-Breeze era. They have their guy short term. They're going to have to draft a star because Winston's not the star. Taysom Hill, he may hang out for a year or two, so look for them to draft a quarterback here soon. But I like the Saints on the road, believe it or not. I know notoriously, but that's all behind Drew Brees. But still, I have a feeling that New Orleans is going to pull this off, get into the rankings. Taysom Hill, number 5 on the quarterback rankings. And if you play ESPN, the guys who swooped him up right away, if you saw me post out there that you needed to pick him up because you could play him in a tight end spot. So you're getting quarterback points out of your tight end spot. He's automatically the number 1 tight end across the board. Now, that's not on any other platform that I've experienced, only ESPN, where you can play him as a tight end. Number 5 on the quarterback rankings, that should tell you a lot. Number 2 on the running back rankings is Alvin Kamara, and number 20 on the wide receiver rankings is Michael Thomas. Jared Cook, number 26, you might be able to count on 20, 30 yards, maybe a touchdown, but I don't think they're throwing the ball as much. It's a lot more of the RPO. It's a lot more of the read option, and that's what's working around the league. That's what teams are going to. It's a copycat league. I'm looking over at Denver. I don't see the value that I had on the New Orleans side fantasy-wise, and that should tell you a lot behind the force in New Orleans. They're talented. They're talented on offense. The defense is coming around. But you look at the Broncos here. I got Drew Lock 27. I got Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay ranked 30s and 40s. I got Jerry Jeudy ranked in the 40s. Tim Patrick in the 50s. Noah Fant, the one bright spot, number 12 on the tight end rankings. If I can't play any guys on your team, I can't pick you to win. I'm taking the Saints on the road.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. I'm taking the Saints as well, and I feel very similarly to you in this grand scheme of things. If you can't name a lot of them, it's hard. I mean, it's the Colt. We both chose the Colts. But the reality of it all is, that's kind of an enigma game where we're like, okay, you know what? They got to do what they got to do to stop Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry's still going to have his day. But we picked the Colts in that matchup as a unit, as a team. In this case for Denver, Denver's got a lot of talent, but they got a bunch of guys that are injured. And that is something that has unfortunately affected a growing season for them. They were supposed to go through their growing pains this season and be better equipped next season. Now they may have some growing pains that stay with them and linger. I like Taysom Hill in the game. I like Alvin Kamara in the game. Latavius Murray as a flex. Michael Thomas, put him out there. Jared Cook, also worth the play. For Denver, Drew Lock is back. That is great. That is wonderful. That means great things for Jerry Jeudy. So you play Jerry Jeudy. Tim Patrick as a flex, a wide receiver 4. Melvin Gordon, a running back 3. Phillip Lindsay, a running back 4. The money's in Jerry Jeudy. And I'm going with the Saints. Next one up here, Mike, is San Francisco at them Rams. This game happened a few weeks back and kind of stunned some people. San Francisco's had 115 players injured or COVID-19 positive. It's been absolutely insane. And the Rams have done some good things, yet they still make you scratch your head sometimes. What do you have for this one?
Yeah, if you took a look at the Niners injury list, you could field an entire team. Then you add the COVID list. The Niners have started over 70 players. It's the most in the league to this point. It's crazy what's going on in San Fran. You kind of feel for them, but at the same time, you're kind of like, yeah, that's what you get. They're just, I'm not a left coast guy, but I am because I play fantasy football. I have to watch. I have to pay attention. Yeah. The guy I can pay attention to in San Fran is Jordan Reed. Of course, with George Kittle being out, everybody thought it was going to be Ross Dwelley. Jordan Reed joining the team. He's number 13 on the tight end ranking, so there's a lot of value for you. Nick Mullins in the high 30s. Raheem Mostert in the high 30s. Deebo Samuel, 54. Maybe you start a Brandon Ayuk as your flex guy, but again, I can't play any guys from your team. That's a bad sign for you winning the game. I look over on the other side of the ball, the Rams. The Rams coming off that big victory at Tampa. I had Tampa penciled in. I didn't know Jared Goff was going to throw for 376 and 3 touchdowns, 51 pass attempts, and he completed 39 of those. The Bucs just couldn't run the ball. They couldn't get it going behind Ronald Jones or Fournette. What the Rams could do, though, is the Rams could throw the ball with Cooper Kupp. And Cooper Kupp's number 13 on the rankings this week. Robert Woods, number 25. Tyler Higbee, 20. Gerald Everett, 23. They're having trouble running the ball themselves, the Rams. 38 for Darrell Henderson. 44 is Malcolm Brown. And the quarterback who had a big week last week, I think there's a little bit of a slowdown here. So I hope you're not chasing. He's probably on somebody's team, but Jared Goff is number 21 on the quarterback rankings this week. Look, the Niners are just a train wreck. They're beyond a train wreck. They're bringing a wrecked car to a drag race. You know, you ever see NASCAR when that car gets just totally wrecked and you're surprised it comes out, it's got no hood, half the back is missing, you know, but they're still running to get laps. That's what the Niners are doing. They're still running to get reps, not laps, but reps for the young guys that are out there because these guys are looking to make a name for themselves. Unfortunately, they're not going to make a name for themselves beating the Rams. I got the Rams at home.
I got the Rams in this one, too. And, you know, Lightning McQueen is red, so you think that Lightning McQueen and the Niners would make sense, but the Niners are bringing Toe Mater to the race right now. That's what they're bringing in. So as we look at this for San Francisco, I mean, Nick Mullins and C.J. Beathard, I mean, of any backup quarterbacks in the nation, who's getting their play day? You know what I mean? It's like, good for you guys for going to San Fran. You should be happy they drafted you because when they made the move for Jimmy, it's like, why did they draft both of these guys? But they're getting more playing time than a bunch of guys out there. So shout out to you. There's nobody that I would tell you to play on the 49. I mean, if you want to play Jordan Reed because of his history, okay, but I don't see a lot. Darrell Henderson and Malcolm Brown are worth the play in this matchup going up against an injured Niners defense. That injured Niners defense, some of these guys have obviously come back, but there are a lot of injuries that have affected them and made non-household names become starters, which hopefully will be good for the future and be good for depth. But right now it has been tough. So Darrell Henderson, Malcolm Brown, I would call them running back threes, maybe Malcolm, like low-end twos, high-end threes. Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods worth the play. And I like Tyler Higbee in the game as well. So with that being said, I'm going Rams. Mike, before we take our final step aside, we got to talk about a game that's going to be awesome. Patty Mahomes is playing against Tom Brady. Pat Mahomes and Tom Brady, this is not a marquee game, but it is a marquee game. It's at 425. It should be at 820, but it's not. So what are your thoughts on Kansas City at Tampa Bay?
I like this game a lot. I like it a lot because you usually don't see two bad games in a row from Tom Brady. You usually don't see two losses in a row from Tom Brady. Tom Brady's in his house. The problem? They're playing the Chiefs. Duh, the Chiefs are really good. Everybody knows this. But there's some value on both sides of the ball here. Gronkowski is finally getting his rhythm together with Tom Brady. Gronkowski number 7 on the tight end rankings this week. Tom Brady number 12 on the quarterback rankings. I think Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette are going to have a little more success this week. I know it's Kansas City. I know their defense has improved, but I got Ronald Jones ranked number 18, Leonard Fournette ranked number 25. The receivers is where the problem is in Tampa Bay. Chris Godwin's been hurt. Mike Evans has been put in check. He's been hurt. Antonio Brown trying to establish and make a name for himself. That's not quite there. So I can't start any of the receivers for Tampa. On the other side of the ball, that's where all the fantasy value is. That's where the better players are. And the better players are led by Travis Kelce, the number 1 tight end out there this week. Week in, week out. Travis Kelce, number 1. Tyreek Hill, consummate top 5 guy, week in, week out. Number 4 on the wide receiver rankings. I'm not starting at DeMarcus Robinson. I don't know if Sammy Watkins is hurt. I don't know if Mecole Hardman is going to get any touches. The guy who's going to get the most touches, though, is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Everybody thought he was going to give up half his load to Le'Veon Bell. It just hasn't happened. Le'Veon Bell's been good in spots, and he's a perfect guy to help Clyde Edwards-Helaire along the season because it's a rookie. He's a rookie. He didn't play as many games in any season in college, and the NFL is different. It's faster. It's great that you were a star at LSU and you were faster than anybody. Guess what? You're in the NFL. Everybody's fast. He's number 28 on the running back rankings. Le'Veon Bell, 56. And Patrick Mahomes, number 6 quarterback this week. Look, I know everything points to Kansas City winning this game. I'm going to go with 20 years of experience behind a quarterback. I'm going to go with the surprise again. The upset number 2 this week, Tampa over the Chiefs at home.
Mike going Tampa over the Chiefs. This could be the game of the week, but I'm going to stick with the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm going to go with Pat Mahomes in this one and pick them to win it. The team that seemed to have their number has been the Raiders inside of that division, and that's been very, very interesting. But I'm going to side with, in this matchup, I'm going to have to side with the Chiefs in it. Although I think it's going to be a fantastic game. I think it's going to be awesome. I think it might push us to the brink. I'm hoping that 1,000,005 fantasy points are scored in this game. This should make fantasy people salivate. This should make you hungry, excited, and ready for some football. I definitely am ready for some football. And Kansas City going up against Tampa is that extra Thanksgiving sandwich after Turkey Day. That's what it is to me. So, Pat Mahomes, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, playing both. Le'Veon Bell, flex him out. Tyreek Hill, let him play. Travis Kelce, put him out there as well. On the other side for Tampa Bay, Tom Brady, yes. Ronald Jones, low end too. Leonard Fournette, not at all. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, I like them both. Antonio Brown is a sneaky flex or a third wide receiver in my opinion. And you got to play the Gronk because I think he's going to have himself a day in this game. He's going to need to. And Tom Brady's going to want to beat arguably who's been playing the best right now, which is Pat Mahomes. And if you want to beat the best, you got to give the best to him. And Rob Gronkowski's the guy that he trusts in, I think, more than anybody. So with that being stated, Mike and I will take a step aside for our final fast break of today's broadcast, a wake-up call with Dan Tortora. When we come back, we'll have Sunday and Monday Night Football as we bring you the Fantasy Football Power Hours. We promised you 11. We're now at noon. That's because we care, and that's because we love what we do. This is what loving your job looks like, folks. See it, and then go live it yourself. Do what you love and love what you do, and surround yourself with people that love you too. We'll take a step aside. We'll be back right after this. This is what loving your job looks like, folks. See it, and then go live it yourself.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice on buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand butter chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant is different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on Facebook Live on facebook.com/live-now-DT. Happy to have you here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. I'm here with my guy, Mr. Mike Sofka of Hall of Fame FantasyFootball.com. Check that out, and make sure you also go to our Winning Fantasy Football group on the Facebook. Just type in Winning Fantasy Football, click Join Group, and you will be there with all of the information that we have, from these videos to the extra videos that Mike does and different things that he has, and waiver wires and free agency and pick up this guy and look at this and think about this and getting ready for the playoffs. So much information, all the good stuff, and it's free. So make sure you go over and do that. And when you take all that free and you say, wow, this is really great, I need to go one step further and really take this seriously, even more serious, you go to Hall of Fame FantasyFootball.com and utilize one of Mike's paid services from there to have him help you even further and be even more personalized to helping you win your fantasy football league. Because let's face it, we all want to take home one of these babies. We want this. We want to take home the hardware. I know what it's like to have this sitting behind me in the studio, and I know that you want to have one sitting with you at your home today. So we'll try to make that happen to the best of our ability by helping you out. And Mike is such a fantastic one in the business that, like I tell you always, there's no better person to be here with me doing fantasy football than Mr. Mike Sofka. With that being said, Mike, we got 2 games left to talk about, Sunday and Monday night, with just a couple minutes left to go. We have gone well beyond our promises in the Fantasy Football Power Hour, and I'm okay with that. Under promise, over deliver, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York, and you can call them for curbside pickup, takeout, and delivery by calling 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat. Chicago at Green Bay, what do you got?
Yeah, the Bears coming off the bye and the Packers coming off that disappointing loss on the road to the Colts. I picked Green Bay last week, and I still feel confident in Green Bay. I still feel confident in their players. Aaron Rodgers put up over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns last week. Devontae Adams had over 100 yards and a touchdown. So these are guys that week in, week out you plug and play. I don't have to tell you that if they're on your team. The fantasy value is definitely on Green Bay's side, followed by Aaron Rodgers, of course. He's number 11 on my quarterback rankings. Aaron Jones ranked number 3 on the running back rankings, and Devontae Adams ranked number 3 on the wide receiver rankings. There you go. There's the magic 3 guys. Those magic 3 guys might win you some money in daily fantasy. I always find it's best to build a core of 2 or 3 guys that you have to play. These guys are those guys. Plug that in, then go back and fill in the gaps. Robert Tonyan, number 19 on the tight end rankings this week. On the other side of the ball, not so much. It is what it is, though. Jimmy Graham, 16 on the rankings. Nick Foles, I think he's going to be the starter, but I don't know if he's going to be healthy enough. We might see Mitch Trubisky. Either way, I can't start either one of those guys. I got Foles started at 28. Trubisky will be even less if he starts. And I got David Montgomery, 36. You're going to find the value, though, with Allen Robinson, number 15. They're going to have to throw the ball. They're going to have to play catch-up to the Packers, so that Allen Robinson is going to be the key guy, him and Jimmy Graham. Allen Robinson, number 15 on the rankings. I can't really start any of the other guys, Anthony Miller or Darrell Mooney or Cordarrelle Patterson. I can't start those guys. Again, we've talked about it time and time. It's a common theme. If I can start all the players on one team and none of the players on the other team, guess who I'm picking? I'm picking the Packers.
Yeah, I'm picking the Packers as well. This is a pretty easy pick for me. Chicago's been all over the place. Mitch has got injuries. Nick Foles got injuries. Cordarrelle Patterson, who's been a wide receiver and a running back, maybe he could play quarterback. But I don't see any fantasy value in really anybody on this team because of that situation. So it lies in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, Allen Lazard's back, my dude. So very happy to have him back and to see him there. And Robert Tonyan, because he's playing Chicago, you could look at him as a low-end 1, high-end 2 tight end. All the values in Green Bay, and I'm playing Green Bay, and I'm picking them to win. Seattle at the Eagles in Monday Night Football. Kind of underwhelming. I mean, I'm excited to see Seattle. I'm not that excited to see Philadelphia. What are your thoughts? And it's no offense to cities. I'm talking about football teams here, and even the city of Philadelphia. Y'all know what's going on this year. It looks ugly, 3-6-1, but you're leading the division. Thank God for that tie with Joe Burrow. What are your thoughts on Seattle and Philadelphia?
Well, Seattle coming off that home victory over the Cardinals, which was a huge game for them. They were able to pull that out. So, you look on the other side of the ball, though, Philly just, lost that game to Cleveland. And you look at this game on paper, without any of my rankings next to it, and you're like, oh, well, Seattle's going to roll in this game. Not so fast, my friend, as I heard my favorite man on ESPN say several times. Carson Wentz is going to be number 9 on the quarterback rankings. Miles Sanders, number 8 on the running back rankings. Dallas Goedert, number 5 on the tight end rankings. I can't really start any receivers, but that's okay. They're going to throw the ball to Goddard. They're going to run the ball and throw the ball to Miles Sanders. So I got Travis Fulgham and Jalen Reagor ranked in the 40s and 50s. So again, I'm not starting those guys. I'm definitely starting Russell Wilson. Outside of one bad week, he's carried me in one league. He's number 3 on the quarterback rankings. Chris Carson should be back, number 15 on the running back rankings. Check that, though. Make sure, because they've been coy with his injury status before, and then all of a sudden a DJ Dallas pops up, a Travis Homer. Those guys aren't popping up anymore. If it's not Chris Carson, it's been Carlos Hyde. Watch the injury reports toward the end of the week here. Make sure he practices on Friday and Saturday. Chris Carson, again, number 15 on the rankings. This is where the real value is. With Russell Wilson, you stack DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett in this game in daily. Stack these guys. So you get Wilson, you get Metcalf, you get Lockett. I got Lockett ranked number 6. I got Metcalf ranked number 7. Will Dissly, number 29 on the tight end rankings. I just look at this game with the rankings, without the rankings. Even though Seattle's on the road, it's a Monday night game. Russell Wilson plays great on Monday night. I'll take Russell Wilson and the Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm taking the Seahawks in this one too. Case in point, they're playing Philadelphia. I like Russell Wilson in this matchup. If Chris Carson comes back, then you put him out there. If he doesn't, then, Carlos Hyde, DJ Dallas, tough to choose. But I would say Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, all worth the play in that. On the Philadelphia side of things, it's Miles Sanders or bust, maybe a Dallas Goedert, but that's really it for me. Carson Wentz is definitely dipped in fantasy value, and I'm going with Seattle for the win. With that being said, Mr. Sofka, happy once again Turkey Day. I am thankful for you. So if you want to know what I'm thankful for, I'm thankful for my partner in crime, and more than that, my friend. So I'm thankful for you, sir, and I'm happy to have you here as always.
Right back at you, Dan. It's a wonderful time of year. A lot of people take Thanksgiving for granted. Don't take these times for granted. There's going to be a time your friends and family may not be around one day, and you want to take advantage of those opportunities now. Be thankful for what you have. Stop for a minute, breathe, look around the room, and realize all you have, and understand that there's people that have a heck of a lot less. You are very fortunate. You should be very thankful if you're hearing this message. I'm thankful for you, Dan. I'm thankful for the opportunity. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And remember, you want to be thankful for that trophy. Go ahead and go join our Facebook group, Winning Fantasy Football, on Facebook. Join the group. And, of course, you can always check me out at HallOfFameFantasyFootball.com. Thanks, Dan.
I appreciate it, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Take care. That coming from Mr. Mike Sofka. And he told you what to do. Go to HallOfFameFantasyFootball.com, as well as go to our group, Winning Fantasy Football, on Facebook. I want to thank Julian Wiggum in our midweek blitz, Syracuse Orange cornerback alum and a friend of mine. More importantly, a good friend of mine. And Mr. Mike Sofka, a good friend and the person we have for the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. Big shout out to everybody from the Cafe Kubal studios. I want to tell you that you can find us every Monday through Friday, except for holidays. We'll be off for Turkey Day. That's why Papa Joe was moved to Monday. We'll be back on Black Friday to speak with you. So while you're getting all your deals and your sales on the internet, some of you shopping in the stores, we will be there for you. So if you're waiting in line, you got something to listen to. If you're shopping online, you got something to listen to. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll be back on this Friday, November 27th. We'll be off for Thanksgiving. Facebook, Facebook.com/live-now-DT, and listening on mixlr.com/wake-up-call-DT. You can search our archives and find us on Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, MixLR, and YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT for our videos by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora or all one word, Wake Up Call DT. Thank you to Cafe Kubal, Carvel, DeWitt, Wildcat Sports Pub, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicoli's. Use the promo code AVS10 on myavicolis.com. Chick-fil-A Cicero, Honda City of Liverpool, Millhouse Markets, Trapper's Pizza Pub, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn, and Popcorn Factory. Go to maandpaspopcorn.com and use the promo code DT20, that's DT20, for 20% off, and you can use that today. Black Friday deals going on at Ma and Pa's as well. I'm thankful for all these companies that have worked with me, now more than ever. God bless you. I appreciate you all. Find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT, and as always, God bless, no stress, do your best. Happy Thanksgiving.